How are you coping through these times? Do you feel that you are doing okay? Or do you sometimes notice changes? For example, feeling okay one moment and feeling overwhelmed or particularly tired the one after. Maybe you have heard and are familiar and at peace that part of what you go through are ascension symptoms for some of you. For others, you just don't know what's going on. You might find yourself that the sleep might be disrupted, the emotion might be all over, or because of so many changes in the world, there can be overwhelming sensation. This could be, for example, stress for cost of living rising. It could be the stress for other situation having to do with work, with your family, with health, with other type of situation. So the focus of today's video here at Lifting Consciousness today is going to be to provide an overview and a few advice on how to navigate through these times. And we'll see two advices for how to center and what can be done constructively so that we know how to recenter and we'll learn how to recenter to be better aware of where we are and how we are and to reclaim our power back, to live more with more light from within in every moment. And towards the end of the video, I'm going to share we can bring together one key advice that if we would have to just focus on one key things moving forward for more beautiful or possibly shattering times ahead, we have the opportunity to remember that one thing that is so powerful beyond anything else. So whether you're familiar or not, there are changes that we can all notice. And by the way, let me make an integration here. Many people like and prefer to just focus on one niche. Here, I take the choice to, in actuality, do what I have been doing since that I can remember with sincerity being a little one, which is to create unity, which is to create a bridge to unify and bring together people from two different edges. So if you allow the dance and within all this context, take what serves you, possibly create space and hold space and sometimes compassion, sometimes understanding, sometimes just leave the rest. But understand that this is what we try to do, that to collectively, to create and bridge the gap from, I like to say, from fit to conscious and from conscious to fit. In other words, whether it's more a normal life that you're concentrating on, and so, for example, the core issue or your priorities are due to what you do in your daily life, your careers, your goal, your family, and you may want to reconnect better with what is your soul, how do you really live satisfied, how do you live connected with that sense of who am I, what am I here for? As there is objectively an increasing of a collective awareness, a collective development for what it is that the development of the soul in this time. And I'll tell you, give me a moment, we'll try to see a couple of points to just make this more tangible for everyone. And then whether people that are more in the spiritual community and not so much grounded. So in other words, there might be, it might be very beneficial to learn or understand how to ground better. And to my spiritual friends, a message that really should be digested by now is, if we are at peace and if we are acknowledged that we are all one, that we are all the same, that we are all this extension of universe, of source, of God, of the words that you are more comfortable choosing to use, then it should be crystal clear that there is no sense for division. We know we come in this experience and there is polarity and there is separation, and there is the dark and there is the light, and there is the female and there is the male, and there is the good, the bad, everything is part of the experience. It's part of that polarity of two different opposites. But as we come and we contain that part of source within us, then if we are all the same, and if you can embrace the beautiful opportunity to recognize source in others, to recognize God in others, then what is the reason for division? Those of you talking a lot about the matrix, my friends, if we are able to see the deception and the lies within society, if we are able to see all the things, example, this food is good for you, go check, contains a lot of chemicals and a lot of sugars and a lot of things that are really not so good for health on the body. And the same can be applied for pharmaceutical industry, from clothing, from any other sector. And I'm not making like God protect Western medicine, because it's so important, it saves lives. It's really the application, or it is undeniable that so many people from the two parts, like the one with a normal life, the one to become more attuned to the soul, and the one more spiritual, that still understand the necessity to be grounded in this physical experience. Everyone, we have all been seeing some sort of lies, tricks, or deception, especially in the last few years from COVID onwards. Many decades before that, but these last few years really gave us the opportunity to open the eyes a little bit more. Is that true? So if we understand that there is some sort of mass deception or of mass hypnosis going on always at the same time to make us remember this commercial, or to make us embrace this belief that we need to have more than the other person, or to be superior or more beautiful than the other person, and a few messages that social media tells to suggest to people, or whether they're marketing, or whether any type of label that is being put on any category. If we understand that there's some sort of trying to divide, and we feel within the heart that that's not ideal, then you tell me, how does it make any sense that we are still dividing in any way? And it's fair enough to be able to discern and recognize a behavior that is not good. For example, a behavior that is harming others, lies, violence, of wars. 100%, like, one has the right to notice and express the emotion that comes up. It might be very triggering, but at the same time, if you did wake up to the knowledge that source is within you, and we are all one, and this is all part of the same creation, then you, more than others, have the power and have raised yourself to a certain level to acknowledge that. Are you integrating that in the physical body? Are you integrating and applying that in the physical sense of seeing unity? Of maybe pause and then finally stop to divide, as in one category, the other category, vaccinated, non-vaccinated, every other type of decision that comes up, gender related, financial related, political parties. If we are all one, wasn't that like, those of you who have experienced entheogens, wasn't that the whole beautiful sense of finding and experience the oneness, to allow that sense of unity then to be the filter of the lens through which you see reality? So how come so many conversations that are beautiful and so conscious and so enlightened, but why still so many conversation that brings division? Gonna leave that there, just food for thought. So in that bringing unity between two different parts and creating a space where making something good for everyone, something that we all need, again, whether we are trying to go through navigating issues of the day-to-day life, work, financial distress, family, anything else that may be happening in your own world, to ascension symptoms and something to do not just through what you can see with your physical eyes, but also what you can see with your soul gifts and psychic senses. And there is, okay, what is one tangible thing? Especially if you're from normal life sort of stream, if that relates to you, if the fit to conscious stream is the one that relates better to you, have a check, even online, on even like podcasts such as Next Level Soul, which has reached over 1 million subscribers and view, Erwin Lion TV, Bashar, there is such a rediscovery of metaphysical concepts, of quantum, that beautiful unification between the science and the metaphysic. So terminology such as like many things that were deemed to be fluffy and really not really with space for conversation are so beautifully taking over. There must be something. So why all of a sudden, progressively, there is so much space and meditation and connection with nature and learning about the breath, and which is so connected to how to navigate through the soul and how to center yourself. And if you're not familiar with all this stuff, for those of you who live a normal life and have a brilliant intelligence really to see and acknowledge that you need air, the first thing that you need in life is to breathe, then you also telling me that you're not willing to create even 1 minute a day for you to connect with what for you is the most important thing that you need to live, to breathe, for the oxygen? So it doesn't take much. On the other side, so many of both categories are more and more accustomed to finding their own way, because this is really it. Each one of us, it's a creator of our own world and reality. And there is not one right or wrong things to do things. For a few things there is, but more broadly, it's totally fine if each person wants to find their way of doing something, the right way. Some people, for them might be right to sit for 30 minutes a day with the leg crossed underneath a tree and just breathe and connect with the breath. Other people may just want to connect and be aware of the breath, maybe even when they walk, while they're having a walk or while they brush their teeth. Anything, it needs to be doable for you. But don't come and tell me that, you can obviously share and decide and tell yourself and others whatever you want. It's your experience, 100%. But from the top of your brilliant intelligence, do yourself the favor and start to understand that if you are so bright to acknowledge that you need air to breathe, and that is the first number one thing that you need, and water being the second, then become more aware of those two. And the door that you're going to open and unlock is going to be mind-blowing. It's really going to enable you to become better and better aware of what is going on within you. So I want to make a parenthesis before to go into the two advices and practical technique to ground ourselves. And that is, there are changes going on. There are a lot of shifts. And something that I hear in the spiritual community, what are my sources, by the way? I like Ray Dalio to look for at least 3 methods of validating the truth. In other words, at least three methods to take the responsibility and try to craft what is my idea of what could be true. When I was a little one, I'll tell you this, when I was a little one, there was a digital game that me and my sister used to play. It was this game on this computer, and it had 2 simulated reality. One saying, è uno scherzo, and another one, non è uno scherzo, which means it's a joke, it's not a joke. I didn't know what that meant, but and then like the video game, it would develop in 2 different ways, but the choice was yours. And the way I have used that and borrowed that concept, integrating that into my lens to see reality now, it enables me to have more playfulness because it was a game, and it gives me so much power, and also regrounds me in a way that most light for someone that like myself was so very serious, taking things, and I'm still having that beautiful depth and being meaningful, even from a point of being genuinely curious and wanting to know and wanting to expand, and having capacity to hold space for so many concepts that for others are overwhelming in a way that it's very second nature. So from that place of being used to taking things seriously, it was such a liberating shift to knowing when it's appropriate to be serious and to pay attention, and knowing when to shift. And as I navigate through reality, is this real or is not real? And the way I also reframe it is, what if this is real? What if this is not real? The duality and the mirroring of the two situations actually enabled me to make a better decision. For example, if I need to draw an outcome on a situation, let's say, I'm going to, just to make an example, this is a simulated reality. Then what I would do is, this is a simulated reality and it is not true. It's a joke. Okay, what if we are in a simulated reality? It's not real. And I would sit with it and try to see a few steps ahead how that sits and integrate with how things would make sense. But I'm not gonna attach any label and I'm not going to draw a conclusion today. I know that concept is there. I don't have to carry it with me in a way that is overwhelming me. I can leave it aside. The subconscious is gonna hold it beautifully anyway. I can reclaim my attention and continue to do the things that I need to do with my energy. And I know at any time, I can come back to that concept. On the other end, we are in a simulated reality and this is true. This is not a joke, this is true. How do I feel with that? And play around with that. As in, what if I start to digest that this is a simulated reality? And then the 3 ways of validating what is true and what is not from Ray Dalio. Like Ray Dalio suggests, find 3 ways to validate reality. Is top of hedge funds. So it's brilliant, such a brilliant man within the economic and finance and investment field. I like to apply that in when I look to collect information and develop my experience of knowledge. There is trivially what happens within my world. So things that I perceive from within, things that I perceive from receiving from others. Then there is outer layer, my community. This could be things, a family, people in my community, people that I know and I see face to face, people that I know from social media and I observe or interact close by. And this could be then outer layer, things at a world scale. So what is happening, what are the conversations, what are the facts that are happening in the US, in Canada, in Europe, in India, in Asia, and so on. There are a stream of information that comes from research, more classically qualification, such as course of study, for example, studying a diploma or doing a degree in a field rather than just reading an article. I like to really expose myself to different type of content. I also like content that one can learn every day, such as podcasts, interviews, episodes, live streaming, because considering that the time of writing and publication and editing takes so long, oftentimes we read something that might be brilliant and always relevant, such as, for example, Metaphysical book from Napoleon Hill, Neville Goddard, Francis Scovel Shinn, or other metaphysical books that are always relevant. Take, for example, The Alchemist, take the books of Napoleon Hill or Neville Goddard, or so many other teachers within the metaphysical space. Those are always relevant, but there are a few information that a few books that even though are brilliant, by the time you read them, there are a few points that are still relevant and others that are outdated. So I'm really excited. I love this combination of knowledge that comes from what comes through immediately, like live, and what comes from previously. Going back to having the opportunity to go through this. Is this a joke? Is this not a joke? Is this real? Is this not real? And even up, lighten up, like let go of the overwhelm, let go of the burden of anything that is too much. How could also this be applied? For example, there is a work situation that you would have normally taken in a way that is a bit too heavy, and you decide to shift. What if this is not affecting me as much? It's affecting me, I'm taking this personally, I feel very upset about it. I actually am untouched by this. This is not bothering me in any way. So you can always create space to explore those two decisions. Let's now see the 2 techniques to navigate through times. We've made an intro, and if you have been familiar with the content in this channel, I'm particularly referring to the references to meditation, and in the video, the power of reframing, there are some consideration on the power of the combined power of our belief, thoughts, the words that we speak, the emotion, the energy, frequency, vibration that we emanate, the actions we express out, and how those could guide us either on a downward spiral, for example, of anxiety, fear, stress, or in an upward spiral of, this could be joy, this could be excitement, this could be peace or freedom or happiness. So once you start to walk on a path, the distance, the gap, is going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. So it's beautiful to, technique number 1, be aware and catch yourself in a moment. Every now and then, get in the habit of catching yourself. Where are my thoughts right now? What am I believing to be true? For me to feel the way I feel in this moment, say you're having a negative emotion or something that is bothering you, for me, or feel triggered, for me to feel this emotion, what do I need to believe to be true? And then you can integrate that with the technique we just saw to find the alternative, find the mirroring, the opposite experience of that, and decide which one resonates for you the most. You don't have to draw a line today. You might just, okay, play with it, leave it aside, continue to go on with your life. At one point later on, you can draw them back and see, okay, with the information I have so far experienced and collected, this feels a little bit more right than these are the ones for me. And keep going ahead with that. Keep being more open-minded and open in emotion, in not having to be so ticked within a box of having to decide and having to label things and having to having everything figured out. It's okay that things are going to make sense when it's due time. There is divine timing if you're willing to accept it. And again, is divine timing true? Is it not true? How do I feel if that is true? What that changes for me if that is not true? But take things with more lightness as you continue to create, as you continue to be focused on your goal, on achieving what you want to achieve or create. I'm not saying like be losing with is the reality that you're creating. I'm saying like I'm cheering for you, keep going, accomplish what you want to. But if there anything that is taking power off you, that is bothering you, that is concerning you, that is lowering your frequency and your vibration, and you're messing up with your sleep or the way you feel within yourself, then claim your power back and make better choices and learn to center yourself. What am I feeling right now? What do I need to believe to be true for me to feel in this way in this moment? Where are my thoughts? What am I thinking right now? Where are my emotions? That ability to center. Now, what is a perfect ground to practice this? Meditation. So back to that square one. Sit with yourself. Start by very simply tuning in with your breath, with the pace of your breathing, and learn to observe if the thoughts, if you notice that thoughts are running. No judgment, just notice them. No judgment. If the thoughts were to be like an analogy of clouds moving in the sky, remember yourself. You're not the clouds. You are the sky behind. Calm, peaceful. Let the thoughts go. That's not you. That's just a few passing clouds that are going by. Keep staying within yourself. Keep proclaiming your power. Keep going down below. You're gonna very easily, so beautiful, tune in with a sense of peace, with that sense possibly you go so deep to bring and open your heart a little bit better. Like prepare for miracles, like the joy that you remember from, I hope you remember the joy from where you were a child. Be more playful, smiling, laughing more often. That is going to come up. Like imagine how your life would change for the better if you were able to do that more often. Some of you are. That's so beautiful. That enriches everyone. Like someone that is like laughing is contagious, smiling is contagious. So are vibration and emotions in a downward spiral. So it's by taking responsibility individually that we help the collectively. To finish off with this today episode, the one thing that if we would have to remember one thing, what would that be? If we learn from history and look back at not only what ideally we have learned from any war but also from the movies, from the cartoons. There is always this duality and this battle between the bad and the good, between the evil and the love, between the fear and the love and the laughter. And what do we learn from it? There is one cartoon that I think there are many cartoons that are so insightful and contains beautiful, so powerful messages for adults, for kids, for elderly, for everyone. One of my favorites, it's Monster & Co. Second one, where they try to push and have sort of the energy, the monsters try to have the energy by scaring the kids during night, using the monsters and nightmares to have fear, to have everyone, I'm getting sheer in this moment, to have, which is a signal, I'm on the money, I'm saying something that it's a message that needs to be shared out. They want all the kids to be in fear so that then collect the energy to run the electricity in their monster world. What's the brilliant win of that movie, of that cartoon? Is that love is so much more powerful than fear. And laughter and joy and excitement are way more powerful. In that way, as the light wins over the darkness, the laughter wins over the fear. And in the end of that cartoon, go and watch that out, enjoy that if you haven't done it already. They change the approach so that the monsters start to still go into dreams of the kids, of the children, but to make them play and laugh. And the power of the laughter, it's so powerful and bright that it's unlocking more energy rather than one that was caused by fear. So if you would have to walk away remembering one thing in every step you take from now on, remember that the light within you, it's way more powerful than the dark. And then the power of your joy and the power of your laughter, of when you laugh, when you remember what light of being, what being of light that you have and how much you can shine from within, that is so powerful. And that is always going to beat and be more powerful than anything that is trying to instill fear into you, anything that is trying to make you believe that you are unworthy, that you are not deserving. That it's a lie. Reclaim your power back. Ultimately, you decide. If you want to believe that you're not worthy, if you want to believe that there is reason to be fearful, you are the creator. You are allowed to do that. But remember that the frequencies that you are going to share with others, such as someone crying, may cause someone else to lower their emotion, like and feel like they want to cry, and someone laughing may brighten up and have all the room laughing. That is exactly the same with the belief and the emotion and the words that you carry out when you go out in the world. So are you, and this is going to be important with anything that comes, like it's like a wave. We are becoming so much better collectively as a species to embrace gratitude and see the beauty in the world and see the love and reunite and wanting to do things together, as we are also noticing that the dark is getting darker. And so we need even a greater ability to stay in the light to continue to cope as the dark is going to get darker. But always remember the power of your excitement, the power of your joy and the laughter, the power of the love that you are and that you can have within you is way more powerful. And use that as a torch as you're going to continue to walk. So if we, in the next months, in the next decade, in the next many years, we may be encountering things that are different, let's just use different, or very challenging, remember that you can still make the difference. The frequency and the vibration, what you carry in your heart and what you carry in your thought and your belief, that is still going to make the difference. It's still going to count collectively. I send you so much love and light, and I'll see you in the next video. If you stay till the end, thank you so much. Subscribe and share a comment. This helps the channel so much. Thanks everyone.